Charmides, and other poems transcribed from 1913 Methuen and Company edition by David Price. Email ccx074@pglaf.org. Charmides and other poems by Oscar Wilde. Methuen and Co. Limited. 36 Essex Street, W.C. London. This volume was first published in 1913. Wilde's poems, a selection of which is given in this volume, were first published in volume form in 1881, and were reprinted 4 times before the end of 1882. A new edition with additional poems, including Ravenna, the Sphinx, and the Ballad of Reading Gaol, was first published, limited issues on handmade paper and Japanese vellum, by Methuen and Company in March 1908. A further edition, making the 7th, with some omissions from the issue of 1908, but including 2 new poems, was published in September 1909. 8th edition, November 1909. 9th edition, December 1909. 10th edition, December 1910. 11th edition, December 1911. 12th edition, May 1913. A further selection of the poems, including the Ballad of Reading Gaol, is published uniform with this volume. Contents page. Charmides 9 Requiescat 67 San Miniato 69 Rome Unvisited 71 Humanitid 77 Louis Napoleon 114 Endymion 116 Le Jardin 119 Lama 120 Le Panio 121 Les Ballons 124 Canzone 126 Le Jardin des Tuileries 129 Pan, Double Villanelle 131 In the Forest 135 Symphony in Yellow 136 Sonnets Hellas 139 to Milton 140 On the Massacre of the Christians in Bulgaria 141 Holy Week at Genoa 142 Urbs Sacra Eterna 143 E Tenebrae 144 At Verona 145 On the Sale by Auction of Keats Love Letters 146 The New Remorse 147 Charmides I. He was a Grecian lad, who coming home with pulpy figs and wine from Sicily stood at his galley's prow, and let the foam blow through his crisp brown curls unconsciously, and holding wave and wind in boy's despite peered from his dripping seat across the wet and stormy night. Till with the dawn he saw a burnished spear like a thin thread of gold against the sky, and hoisted sail, and strained the creaking gear, and bade the pilot head her lustily against the nor'west gale, and all day long held on his way, and marked the rower's time with measured song. And when the faint Corinthian hills were red, dropped anchor in a little sandy bay, and with fresh boughs of olive crowned his head, and brushed from cheek and throat the hoary spray, and washed his limbs with oil, and from the hold brought out his linen tunic and his sandals brazen-soled, and a rich robe stained with the fisher's juice which of some swarthy trader he had bought upon the sunny quay at Syracuse, and was with Tyrian broideries inwrit, and by the questioning merchants made his way up through the soft and silver woods, and when the labouring day had spun its tangled web of crimson cloud, clomb the high hill, and with swift silent feet crept to the fane unnoticed by the crowd of busy priests, and from some dark retreat watched the young swains his frolic playmates bring the firstling of their little flock, and the shy shepherd fling the crackling salt upon the flame, or hang his studded crook against the temple wall to her who keeps away the ravenous fang of the base wolf from homestead and from stall. And then the clear-voiced maidens 'gan to sing, and to the altar each man brought some goodly offering, a beechen cup brimming with milky foam, a fair cloth wrought with cunning imagery of hounds in chase, a waxen honeycomb dripping with oozy gold which scarce the bee had ceased from building, a black skin of oil meat for the wrestlers, a great boar, the fierce and white-tusked spoil stolen from Artemis that jealous made to please Athena, and the dappled hide of a tall stag who in some mountain glade had met the shaft. And then the herald cried, and from the pillared precinct one by one went the glad Greeks, well pleased that they their simple vows had done. And the old priest put out the waning fires save that one lamp whose restless ruby glowed forever in the cell, and the shrill lyres came fainter on the wind, as down the road in joyous dance these country folk did pass, and with stout hands the warder closed the gates of polished brass. Long time he lay and hardly dared to breathe, and heard the cadenced drip of spilt-out wine, and the rose petals falling from the wreath as the night breezes wandered through the shrine, and seemed to be in some entranced swoon till through the open roof above the full and brimming moon flooded with sheeny waves the marble floor, when from his nook up leapt the venturous lad, and flinging wide the cedar-carven door beheld an awful image saffron-clad and armed for battle. The gaunt griffin glared from the huge helm, and the long lance of wreck and ruin flared like a red rod of flame, stony and steeled the Gorgon's head its leaden eyeballs rolled, and writhed its snaky horrors through the shield, and gaped aghast with bloodless lips and cold in passion impotent, while with blind gaze the blinking owl between the feet hooted in shrill amaze. The lonely fisher as he trimmed his lamp far out at sea off Sunium, or cast the net for tunnies, heard a brazen tramp of horses smite the waves, and a wild blast divide the folded curtains of the night, and knelt upon the little poop, and prayed in holy fright. And guilty lovers in their venery forgat a little while their stolen sweets, deeming they heard dread Dian's bitter cry, and the grim watchmen on their lofty seats ran to their shields in haste precipitate, or strained black-bearded throats across the dusky parapet. For round the temple rolled the clang of arms, and the 12 gods leapt up in marble fear, and the air quaked with dissonant alarums till huge Poseidon shook his mighty spear, and on the frieze the prancing horses neighed, and the low tread of hurrying feet rang from the cavalcade. Ready for death with parted lips he stood, and well content at such a price to see that calm wide brow, that terrible maidenhood, the marvel of that pitiless chastity, well content indeed, for never wight since Troy's young shepherd prince had seen so wonderful a sight. Ready for death he stood, but lo! The air grew silent, and the horses ceased to neigh, and off his brow he tossed the clustering hair, and from his limbs he threw the cloak away, for whom would not such love make desperate? And nigher came, and touched her throat, and with hands violate undid the cuirass, and the crocus gown, and bared the breasts of polished ivory, till from the waist the peplos falling down left visible the secret mystery which to no lover will Athena show, the grand cool flanks, the crescent thighs, the bossy hills of snow. Those who have never known a lover's sin, let them not read my ditty, it will be to their dull ears so musicless and thin that they will have no joy of it. But ye to whose wan cheeks now creeps the lingering smile, ye who have learned who Eros is, O listen yet a while. A little space he let his greedy eyes rest on the burnished image, till mere sight half swooned for surfeit of such luxuries, and then his lips in hungering delight fed on her lips, and round the towered neck he flung his arms, nor cared at all his passion's will to check. Never I ween did lover hold such tryst, for all night long he murmured honeyed word, and saw her sweet unravished limbs, and kissed her pale and argent body undisturbed, and paddled with the polished throat, and pressed his hot and beating heart upon her chill and icy breast. It was as if Numidian javelins pierced through and through his wild and whirling brain, and his nerves thrilled like throbbing violins in exquisite pulsation, and the pain was such sweet anguish that he never drew his lips from hers till overhead the lark of warning flew. They who have never seen the daylight peer into a darkened room, and drawn the curtain, and with dull eyes and wearied from some dear and worshipped body risen, they for certain will never know of what I try to sing, how long the last kiss was, how fond and late his lingering. The moon was girdled with a crystal rim, the sign which shipmen say is ominous of wrath in heaven, the wan stars were dim, and the low lightening east was tremulous with the faint fluttering wings of flying dawn, ere from the silent sombre shrine his lover had withdrawn. Down the steep rock with hurried feet and fast clomb the brave lad, and reached the cave of Pan, and heard the goat-foot snoring as he passed, and leapt upon a grassy knoll and ran like a young fawn unto an olive wood which in a shady valley by the well-built city stood, and sought a little stream, which well he knew, for oftentimes with boyish careless shout the green and crested grebe he would pursue, or snare in woven net the silver trout, and down amid the startled reeds he lay panting in breathless sweet affright, and waited for the day. On the green bank he lay, and let one hand dip in the cool dark eddies listlessly, and soon the breath of morning came and fanned his hot flushed cheeks, or lifted wantonly the tangled curls from off his forehead, while he on the running water gazed with strange and secret smile. And soon the shepherd in rough woolen cloak with his long crook undid the wattled coats, and from the stack a thin blue wreath of smoke curled through the air across the ripening oats, and on the hill the yellow house dog bayed as through the crisp and rustling fern the heavy cattle strayed. And when the light-foot mower went afield across the meadows laced with threaded dew, and the sheep bleated on the misty weald, and from its nest the waking corncrake flew, some woodman saw him lying by the stream and marvelled much that any lad so beautiful could seem, nor deemed him born of mortals, and one said, "It is young Hylas, that false runaway who with a naiad now would make his bed forgetting Heracles, but others, nay, it is Narcissus, his own paramour, those are the fond and crimson lips no woman can allure." And when they nearer came a third one cried, "It is young Dionysos who has hid his spear and fawn skin by the riverside weary of hunting with the Barcerid, and wise indeed were we away to fly, they live not long who on the gods immortal come to spy." So turned they back, and feared to look behind, and told the timid swain how they had seen amid the reeds some woodland god reclined, and no man dared to cross the open green, and on that day no olive tree was slain, nor rushes cut, but all deserted was the fair domain, save when the neat herd's lad, his empty pail well slung upon his back, with leap and bound raced on the other side, and stopped to hail, hoping that he some comrade new had found, and gat no answer, and then half afraid passed on his simple way, or down the still and silent glade a little girl ran laughing from the farm, not thinking of love's secret mysteries, and when she saw the white and gleaming arm and all his manlyhood, with longing eyes whose passion mocked her sweet virginity watched him a while, and then stole back sadly and wearily. Far off he heard the city's hum and noise, and now and then the shriller laughter where the passionate purity of brown-limbed boys wrestled or raced in the clear healthful air, and now and then a little tinkling bell as the shorn wether led the sheep down to the mossy well. Through the grey willows danced the fretful gnat, the grasshopper chirped idly from the tree, in sleek and oily coat the water rat breasting the little ripples manfully made for the wild duck's nest, from bough to bough hopped the shy finch, and the huge tortoise crept across the slough. On the faint wind floated the silky seeds as the bright scythe swept through the waving grass. The ouzel cock splashed circles in the reeds and flecked with silver whirls the forest's glass, which scarce had caught again its imagery ere from its bed the dusky tench leapt at the dragonfly. But little care had he for anything though up and down the beach the squirrel played, and from the copse the linnet gan to sing to its brown mate its sweetest serenade. Ah! Little care indeed, for he had seen the breasts of Pallas and the naked wonder of the queen. But when the herdsman called his straggling goats with whistling pipe across the rocky road, and the shard beetle with its trumpet notes boomed through the darkening woods, and seemed to bode of coming storm, and the belated crane passed homeward like a shadow, and the dull big drops of rain fell on the pattering fig leaves, up he rose, and from the gloomy forest went his way past sombre homestead and wet orchard close, and came at last unto a little quay, and called his mates aboard, and took his seat on the high poop, and pushed from land, and loosed the dripping sheet, and steered across the bay. And when 9 suns passed down the long and laddered way of gold, and 9 pale moons had breathed their orisons to the chaste stars their confessors, or told their dearest secret to the downy moth that will not fly at noonday, through the foam and surging froth came a great owl with yellow sulphurous eyes and lit upon the ship, whose timbers creaked as though the lading of 3 argosies were in the hold, and flapped its wings and shrieked, and darkness straightway stole across the deep. Sheathed was Orion's sword, dread Mars himself fled down the steep, and the moon hid behind a tawny mask of drifting cloud, and from the ocean's marge rose the red plume, the huge and horned casque, the 7-cubit spear, the brazen targe. And clad in bright and burnished panoply Athena strode across the stretch of sick and shivering sea. To the dull sailor's sight her loosened looks seemed like the jagged storm wrack, and her feet only the spume that floats on hidden rocks, and, marking how the rising waters beat against the rolling ship, the pilot cried to the young helmsman at the stern to luff to windward side, but he, the overbold adulterer, a dear profaner of great mysteries, an ardent amorous idolater, when he beheld those grand relentless eyes laughed loud for joy, and crying out I come leapt from the lofty poop into the chill and churning foam. Then fell from the high heaven one bright star, one dancer left the circling galaxy, and back to Athens on her clattering car in all the pride of venged divinity pale Pallas swept with shrill and steely clank, and a few gurgling bubbles rose where her boy-lover sank. And the mast shuddered as the gaunt owl flew with mocking hoots after the wrathful queen, and the old pilot bade the trembling crew hoist the big sail, and told how he had seen close to the stern a dim and giant form, and like a dipping swallow the stout ship dashed through the storm. And no man dared to speak of Charmides, deeming that he some evil thing had wrought, and when they reached the strait simple goods they beached their galley on the shore, and sought the toll gate of the city hastily, and in the market showed their brown and pictured pottery. Too but some good Triton god had ruth, and bare the boy's drowned body back to Grecian land, and mermaids combed his dank and dripping hair and smoothed his brow, and loosed his clenching hand. Some brought sweet spices from far Arabiae, and others bade the Halcyon sing her softest lullaby. And when he neared his old Athenian home, a mighty billow rose up suddenly upon whose oily back the clotted foam lay diapered in some strange fantasy, and clasping him unto its glassy breast swept landward, like a white-maned steed upon a venturous quest. Now where Colonos leans unto the sea there lies a long and level stretch of lawn, the rabbit knows it, and the mountain before it deserts Hymettus, and the fawn is not afraid, for never through the day comes a cry ruder than the shout of shepherd lads at play. But often from the thorny labyrinth and tangled branches of the circling wood the stealthy hunter sees young Hyacinth hurling the polished disc, and draws his hood over his guilty gaze, and creeps away, nor dares to wind his horn, or else at the first break of day the dryads come and throw the leathern ball along the reedy shore, and circumvent some goat-eared Pan to be their seneschal for fear of bold Poseidon's ravishment, and loose their girdles, with shy timorous eyes, lest from the surf his azure arms and purple beard should rise. On this side and on that a rocky cave, hung with the yellow-belled laburnum, stands smooth is the beach, save where some ebbing wave leaves its faint outline etched upon the sands, as though it feared to be too soon forgot by the green rush, its playfellow, and yet, it is a spot so small, that the inconstant butterfly could steal the hoarded money from each flower ere it was noon, and still not satisfy its over-greedy love, within an hour a sailor boy, were he but rude enow to land and pluck a garland for his galley's painted prow, would almost leave the little meadow bare, for it knows nothing of great pageantry, only a few narcissi here and there stand separate in sweet austerity, dotting the unmown grass with silver stars, and here and there a daffodil waves tiny scimitars. Hither the billow brought him, and was glad of such dear servitude, and where the land was virgin of all waters laid the lad upon the golden margent of the strand, and like a lingering lover oft returned to kiss those pallid limbs which once with intense fire burned, ere the wet seas had quenched that holocaust, that self-fed flame, that passionate lust I had, ere grisly death with chill and nipping frost had withered up those lilies white and red which, while the boy would through the forest range, answered each other in a sweet antiphonal counterchange. And when at dawn the wood nymphs, hand in hand, threaded the bosky dell, their satyr spied the boy's pale body stretched upon the sand, and feared Poseidon's treachery, and cried, and like bright sunbeams flitting through a glade each startled dryad sought some safe and leafy ambuscade. Save one white girl, who deemed it would not be so dread a thing to feel a sea god's arms crushing her breasts in amorous tyranny, and longed to listen to those subtle charms insidious lovers weave when they would win some fenced fortress, and stole back again, nor thought it sin to yield her treasure unto one so fair, and lay beside him, thirsty with love's drouth, called him soft names, played with his tangled hair, and with hot lips made havoc of his mouth afraid he might not wake, and then, afraid lest he might wake too soon, fled back, and then, fond renegade, returned to fresh assault, and all day long sat at his side, and laughed at her new toy, and held his hand, and sang her sweetest song, then frowned to see how froward was the boy who would not with her maidenhood entwine, nor knew that 3 days since his eyes had looked on Proserpine, nor knew what sacrilege his lips had done, but said, "He will awake, I know him well, he will awake at evening when the sun hangs his red shield on Corinth's citadel. This sleep is but a cruel treachery to make me love him more, and in some cavern of the sea deeper than ever falls the fisher's line already a huge Triton blows his horn, and weaves a garland from the crystalline and drifting ocean tendrils to adorn the emerald pillars of our bridal bed, four-sphered in foaming silver, and with coral-crowned head, we two will sit upon a throne of pearl, and a blue wave will be our canopy, and at our feet the water snakes will curl in all their amethystine panoply of diamond mail, and we will mark the mullets swimming by the mast of some storm-foundered bark, vermilion-finned with eyes of bossy gold like flakes of crimson light, and the great deep his glass-portaled chamber will unfold, and we will see the painted dolphins sleep cradled by murmuring halcyons on the rocks where Proteus in quaint suit of green pastures his monstrous flocks. And tremulous opal-hued anemones will wave their purple fringes where we tread upon the mirrored floor, and argosies of fishes flecked with tawny scales will thread the drifting cordage of the shattered wreck, and honey-colored amber beads our twining limbs will deck. But when that baffled lord of war the sun with gaudy pennon flying passed away into his brazen house, and one by one the little yellow stars began to stray across the field of heaven, then indeed she feared his lips upon her lips would never care to feed, and cried, "Awake! Already the pale moon washes the trees with silver, and the wave creeps grey and chilly up this sandy dune. The croaking frogs are out, and from the cave the nightjar shrieks. The fluttering bats repass, and the brown stoat with hollow flanks creeps through the dusky grass. Nay, though thou art a god, be not so coy. For in yon stream there is a little reed that often whispers how a lovely boy lay with her once upon a grassy mead, who when his cruel pleasure he had done spread wings of rustling gold and soared aloft into the sun. Be not so coy, the laurel trembles still with great Apollo's kisses, and the fir whose clustering sisters fringe the seaward hilleth many a tale of that bold ravisher whom men call Boreas, and I have seen the mocking eyes of Hermes through the poplar's silvery sheen. Even the jealous naiads call me fair, and every morn a young and ruddy swain woos me with apples and with locks of hair, and seeks to soothe my virginal disdain by all the gifts the gentle wood nymphs love. But yesterday he brought to me an iris-plumaged dove with little crimson feet, which with its store of 7 spotted eggs the cruel lad had stolen from the lofty sycamore at daybreak, when her amorous comrade had flown off in search of buried juniper which most they love, the fretful wasp. That earliest vintager of the blue grapes, hath not persistency so constant as this simple shepherd boy for my poor lips. His joyous purity and laughing sunny eyes might well decoy a dryad from her oath to Artemis, for very beautiful is he. His mouth was made to kiss, his argent forehead, like a rising moon over the dusky hills of meeting brows, is crescent-shaped. The hot and Tyrian noon lets from the myrtle grove no goodlier spouse for Cytherea. The first silky down fringes his blushing cheeks, and his young limbs are strong and brown, and he is rich, and fat and fleecy herds of bleating sheep upon his meadows lie, and many an earthen bowl of yellow curds is in his homestead for the thievish fly to swim and drown in. The pink clover mead keeps its sweet store for him, and he can pipe on oaten reed. And yet I love him not, it was for thee I kept my love. I knew that thou wouldst come to rid me of this pallid chastity, thou fairest flower of the flowerless foam of all the wide Aegean, brightest star of ocean's azure heavens where the mirrored planets are. I knew that thou wouldst come, for when at first the dry wood burgeoned, and the sap of spring swelled in my green and tender bark or burst to myriad multitudinous blossoming which mocked the midnight with its mimic moons that did not dread the dawn, and first the thrush's rapturous tunes startled the squirrel from its granary, and cuckoo flowers fringed the narrow lane. Through my young leaves a sensuous ecstasy crept like new wine, and every mossy vein throbbed with the fitful pulse of amorous blood, and the wild winds of passion shook my slim stem's maidenhood. The trooping fawns at evening came and laid their cool black noses on my lowest boughs, and on my topmost branch the blackbird made a little nest of grasses for his spouse, and now and then a twittering wren would light on a thin twig which hardly bare the weight of such delight. I was the Attic shepherd's trysting place, beneath my shadow Amaryllis lay, and round my trunk would laughing Daphnis chase the timorous girl, till tired out with play she felt his hot breath stir her tangled hair, and turned, and looked, and fled no more from such delightful snare. Then come away unto my ambuscade where clustering woodbine weaves a canopy for amorous pleasaunce, and the rustling shade of Paphian myrtle seems to sanctify the dearest rites of love. There in the cool and green recesses of its farthest depth there is pool, the ouzel's haunt, the wild bee's pasturage, for round its rim great creamy lilies float through their flat leaves in verdant anchorage, each cup a white-sailed golden-laden boat steered by a dragon-fly. Be not afraid to leave this one and wave-kissed shore, surely the place was made for lovers such as we. The Cyprian queen, one arm around her boyish paramour, strays often there at eve, and I have seen the moon strip off her misty vestiture for young Endymion's eyes. Be not afraid, the panther feet of Dian never tread that secret glade. Nay, if thou willest, back to the beating brine, back to the boisterous billow let us go, and walk all day beneath the hyaline huge vault of Neptune's watery portico, and watch the purple monsters of the deep sport in ungainly play, and from his lair keen Zephyr sleep. For if my mistress find me lying here, she will not ruth or gentle pity show, but lay her boar spear down, and with austere relentless fingers string the cornel bow, and draw the feathered notch against her breast, and loose the arched cord. Even now upon the quest I hear her hurrying feet. Awake, awake, thou laggard in love's battle. Once at least let me drink deep of passion's wine, and slake my parched being with the nectarous feast which even gods affect. O come, love, come, still we have time to reach the cavern of thine azure home. Scarce had she spoken when the shuddering trees shook, and the leaves divided, and the air grew conscious of a god, and the grey seas crawled backward, and a long and dismal blare blew from some tasselled horn, a sleuth hound bayed, and like a flame a barbed reed flew whizzing down the glade. And where the little flowers of her breast just break into their milky blossoming, this murderous paramour, this unbidden guest, pierced and struck deep in horrid chambering, and ploughed a bloody furrow with its dart, and dug a long red road, and cleft with winged death her heart. Sobbing her life out with a bitter cry, on the boy's body fell the dryad maid, sobbing for incomplete virginity, and raptures unenjoyed, and pleasures dead, and all the pain of things unsatisfied, and the bright drops of crimson youth crept down her throbbing side. Ah! Pitiful it was to hear her moan, and very pitiful to see her die ere she had yielded up her sweets, or known the joy of passion, that dread mystery which not to know is not to live at all, and yet to know is to be held in death's most deadly thrall. But as it happed, the Queen of Scythia, who with Adonis all night long had lain within some shepherd's hut in Arcady, on team of silver doves and gilded wain was journeying Paphos ward, high up afar from mortal ken between the mountains and the morning star, and when low down she spied the hapless pair, and heard the Oread's faint despairing cry, whose cadence seemed to play upon the air as though it were a viol, hastily she bade her pigeons fold each straining plume, and dropped to earth, and reached the strand, and saw their dolorous doom. For as a gardener turning back his head to catch the last notes of the linnet, mows with careless scythe too near some flower bed, and cuts the thorny pillar of the rose, and with the flower's loosened loneliness strews the brown mould, or as some shepherd lad in wantonness driving his little flock along the mead treads down 2 daffodils, which side by aid have lured the ladybird with yellow breed and made the gaudy moth forget its pride, treads down their brimming golden chalices under light feet which were not made for such rude ravages, or as a schoolboy tired of his book flings himself down upon the reedy grass and plucks 2 water lilies from the brook, and for a time forgets the hour-glass, then wearies of their sweets, and goes his way, and lets the hot sun kill them, even go these lovers lay. And Venus cried, "It is dread Artemis whose bitter hand athwart this cruelty, or else that mightier maid whose care it is to guard her strong and stainless majesty upon the hill Athenian. Alas! that they who loved so well unloved into death's house should pass." So with soft hands she laid the boy and girl in the great golden wagon tenderly, her white throat whiter than a moony pearl just threaded with a blue veins tapestry had not yet ceased to throb, and still her breast swayed like a wind-stirred lily in ambiguous unrest, And then each pigeon spread its milky van. The bright car soared into the dawning sky, and like a cloud the aerial caravan passed over the Aegean silently, till the faint air was troubled with the song from the wan mouths that call on bleeding Tammuz all night long. But when the doves had reached their wonted goal where the white stair of orbed marble dips its snows into the sea, her fluttering soul just shook the trembling petals of her lips and passed into the void, and Venus knew that one fair maid the less would walk amid her retinue, and bade her servants carve a cedar chest with all the wonder of this history, within whose scented womb their limbs should rest, where olive trees make tender the blue sky on the low hills of Paphos, and the fawn pipes in the noonday, and the nightingale sings on till dawn. Nor failed they to obey her hest, and ere the morning bee had stung the daffodil with tiny fretful spear, or from its lair the waking stag had leapt across the rill and roused the ouzel, or the lizard crept athwart the sunny rock, beneath the grass their bodies slept. And when day brake, within that silver shrine fed by the flames of cressets tremulous, Queen Venus knelt and prayed to Proserpine that she whose beauty made death amorous should beg a guerdon from her pallid lord, and let desire pass across dread Charon's icy ford. 3 In melancholy moonless Icheron, farm for the goodly earth and joyous day where no spring ever buds, nor ripening sun weighs down the apple trees, nor flowery May checkers with chestnut blooms the grassy floor, where thrushes never sing, and piping linnets mate no more. There by a dim and dark Lethaean well young Charmides was lying, wearily he plucked the blossoms from the asphodel, and with its little rifled treasury strewed the dull waters of the dusky stream, and watched the white stars founder, and the land was like a dream, when as he gazed into the watery glass and through his brown hair's curly tangles scanned his own wan face, a shadow seemed to pass across the mirror, and a little hand stole into his, and warm lips timidly brushed his pale cheeks, and breathed their secret forth into a sigh. Then turned he round his weary eyes and saw, and ever nigher still their faces came, and nigher ever did their young mouths draw until they seemed one perfect rose of flame, and longing arms around her neck he cast, and felt her throbbing bosom, and his breath came hot and fast, and all his hoarded sweets were hers to kiss, and all her maidenhood was his to slay, and limb to limb in long and rapturous bliss their passion waxed and waned. O why I say to pipe again of love, too venturous reed. Enough, enough that Eros laughed upon that flowerless mead. Too venturous poesy, O why I say to pipe again of passion. Fold thy wings o'er daring Icarus and bid thy lay sleep hidden in the lyre's silent strings till thou hast found the old Castalian rill, or from the Lesbian waters plucked drowned Sappho's golden quid. Enough, enough that he whose life had been a fiery pulse of sin, a splendid shame, could in the loveless land of Hades glean one scorching harvest from those fields of flame where passion walks with naked unshod feet and is not wounded. Ah! Enough that once their lips could meet in that wild throb when all existences seemed narrowed to one single ecstasy which dies through its own sweetness and the stress of too much pleasure, ere Persephone had bade them serve her by the ebon throne of the pale god who in the fields of Ina loosed her zone. Poems require scat tread lightly, she is near under the snow, speak gently, she can hear the daisies grow. all her bright golden hair tarnished with rust, she that was young and fair fallen to dust. Lily-like, white as snow, she hardly knew she was a woman, so sweetly she grew. Coffin board, heavy stone, lie on her breast, I vex my heart alone, she is at rest. Peace, peace, she cannot hear lyre or sonnet, all my life's buried here, heap earth upon it. Avinan San Minatosi, I have climbed the mountain side up to this holy house of God, where once that angel painter trod who saw the heavens opened wide, and throned upon the crescent moon the virginal white Queen of Grace, Mary. Could I but see thy face, death could not come at all too soon. O crowned by God with thorns and pain, Mother of Christ, O mystic wife, my heart is weary of this life and over sad to sing again. O crowned by God with love and flame, O crowned by Christ the Holy One, O listen ere the searching sun show to the world my sin and shame. Rome unvisited I. The corn has turned from grey to red, since first my spirit wandered forth from the drear cities of the north, and to Italia's mountains fled. And here I set my face towards home, for all my pilgrimage is done, although, methinks, yon blood-red sun marshals the way to holy Rome. O blessed Lady, who dost hold upon the 7 hills thy reign. O Mother without blot or stain, crowned with bright crowns of triple gold. O Roma, Roma, at thy feet I lay this barren gift of song. For, the way is steep and long that leads unto thy sacred street. And yet what joy it were for me to turn my feet unto the south, and journeying towards the Tiber mouth to kneel again at Fiesole. And wandering through the tangled pines that break the gold of Arno's stream, to see the purple mist and gleam of morning on the Apennines by many a vineyard hidden home, orchard and olive garden grey, till from the drear Campagna's way the 7 hills bear up the dome. 3 A pilgrim from the northern seas, what joy for me to seek alone the wondrous temple and the throne of him who holds the awful keys. When, bright with purple and with gold come priest and holy cardinal, and borne above the heads of all the gentle shepherd of the fold. O joy to see before I die the only God-anointed King, and hear the silver trumpets ring a triumph as he passes by. Or at the brazen pillared shrine holds high the mystic sacrifice, and shows his God to human eyes beneath the veil of bread and wine. For lo, what changes time can bring. The cycles of revolving years may free my heart from all its fears, and teach my lips a song to sing. Before yon field of trembling gold is garnered into dusty sheaves, or ere the autumn's scarlet leaves flutter as birds adown the wold, I may have run the glorious race, and caught the torch while yet aflame, and called upon the holy name of him who now doth hide his face. Arona humanitated, it is full winter now, the trees are bare, save where the cattle huddle from the cold beneath the pine, for it doth never wear the autumn's gaudy livery whose gold her jealous brother pilfers, but is true to the green doublet. Bitter is the wind, as though it blew from Saturn's cave. A few thin wisps of hay lie on the sharp black hedges, where the wain dragged the sweet pillage of a summer's day from the low meadows up the narrow lane, upon the half-thawed snow the bleating sheep press close against the hurdles, and the shivering house dogs creep from the shut stable to the frozen stream and back again disconsolate, and miss the bawling shepherds and the noisy team, and overhead in circling listlessness the cawing rooks whirl round the frosted stack, or crowd the dripping boughs, and in the fen the ice pools crack where the gaunt bittern stalks among the reeds and flaps his wings, and stretches back his neck, and hoots to see the moon. Across the meads limps the poor frightened hare, a little speck, and a stray sea-moo with its fretful cry flits like a sudden drift of snow against the dull grey sky. Full winter, and the lusty goodman brings his load of faggots from the chilly byre, and stamps his feet upon the hearth, and flings the sappy billets on the waning fire, and laughs to see the sudden lightning scare his children at their play. And yet, the spring is in the air, already the slim crocus stirs the snow, and soon yon blanched fields will bloom again with nodding cowslips for some lad to mow. For with the first warm kisses of the rain the winter's icy sorrow breaks to tears, and the brown thrushes mate, and with bright eyes the rabbit peers from the dark warren where the fir cones lie, and treads one snowdrop underfoot, and runs over the mossy knoll, and blackbirds fly across our path at evening, and the suns stay longer with us. Ah! How good to see grass-girdled spring in all her joy of laughing greenery dance through the hedges till the early rose, that sweet repentance of the thorny briar, burst from its sheathed emerald and disclose the little quivering disk of golden fire which the bees know so well, for with it come pale boy's love, sops in wine, and daffodils all in bloom. Then up and down the field the sower goes, while close behind the laughing younker scares with shrilly whoop the black and thievish crows, and then the chestnut tree its glory wears, and on the grass the creamy blossom falls in odorous excess, and faint half-whispered madrigals steal from the bluebell's nodding carillons each breezy morn, and then white jessamine, that star of its own heaven, snapdragons with lolling crimson tongues, and eglantine in dusty velvets clad usurp the bed and woodland empery, and when the lingering roseth shed red leaf by leaf its folded panoply, and pansies closed their purple-lidded eyes, chrysanthemums from gilded argosy unload their gaudy scentless merchandise, and violets getting overbold withdraw from their shy nooks, and scarlet berries dot the leafless haw. O happy field! And O thrice happy tree! Soon will your queen in days of flowered smock and crown of flowered aloes trip down the lea, soon will the lazy shepherds drive their flock back to the pasture by the pool, and soon through the green leaves will float the hum of murmuring bees at noon. Soon will the glade be bright with bellama, the flower which wantons love, and those sweet nuns veil lilies in their snowy vestiture will tell their beaded pearls, and carnations with mitred dusky leaves will scent the wind, and straggling travellers joy each hedge with yellow stars will bind. Dear bride of nature and most bounteous spring, that canst give increase to the sweet-breathed kine, and to the kid its little horns, and bring the soft and silky blossoms to the vine, where is that old nepenthe which of yore man got from poppy root and glossy-berried mandragora? There was a time when any common bird could make me sing in unison, a time when all the strings of boyish life were stirred to quick response or more melodious rhyme by every forest idyll. Do I change? Or rather doth some evil thing through thy fair pleasaunce range? Nay, nay, thou art the same, 'tis I who seek to vex with sighs thy simple solitude, and because fruitless tears bedew my cheek would have thee weep with me in brotherhood, fool. Shall each wronged and restless spirit dare to taint such wine with the salt poison of own despair? Thou art the same, 'tis I whose wretched soul takes discontent to be its paramour, and gives its kingdom to the rude control of what should be its servitor, for sure wisdom is somewhere, though the stormy sea contain it not, and the huge deep answer 'tis not in me. To burn with one clear flame, to stand erect in natural honor, not to bend the knee in profitless prostrations whose effect is by itself condemned. What alchemy can teach me this? What herb meady brewed will bring the unoccultant peace of essence not subdued? The minor chord which ends the harmony, and for its answering brother waits in vain sobbing for incomplete melody, dies a swan's death, but I the heir of pain, a silent Memnon with blank lidless eyes, wait for the light and music of those suns which never rise. The quenched out torch, the lonely cypress gloom, the little dust stored in the narrow urn, the gentle of the attic tomb, were not these better far than to return to my old fitful restless malady, or spend my days within the voiceless cave of misery? Nay. For perchance that poppy-crowned God is like the watcher by a sick man's bed who talks of sleep but gives it not, his rod hath lost its virtue, and, when all is said, death is too rude, too obvious a key to solve one single secret in a life's philosophy. And love, that noble madness, whose august and inextinguishable might can slay the soul with honeyed drugs, alas! I must from such sweet ruin play the runaway, although too constant memory never can forget the arched splendor of those brows Olympian which for a little season made my youth so soft a swoon of exquisite indolence that all the chiding of more prudent truth seemed the thin voice of jealousy. O hence thou huntress deadlier than Artemis! Go seek some other quarry. For of thy too perilous bliss, my lips have drunk enough, no more, no more, though Love himself should turn his gilded prow back to the troubled waters of this shore where I am wrecked and stranded, even now the chariot wheels of passion sweep too near, hence. Hence, I pass unto a life more barren, more austere. More barren, those arms will never lean down through the trellised vines and draw my soul in sweet reluctance through the tangled green. Some other head must wear that aureole, for I am hers who loves not any man whose white and stainless bosom bears the sign Gorgonian. Let Venus go and chuck her dainty page, and kiss his mouth, and toss his curly hair. With net and spear and hunting equipage let young Adonis to his tryst repair, but me her fond and subtle fashioned spell delights no more, though I could win her dearest citadel. Though I were that laughing shepherd boy who from Mount Ida saw the little cloud pass over Tenedos and lofty Troy and knew the coming of the queen, and bowed in wonder at her feet, not for the Psyche of a new Helen would I bid her hand the apple take. Then rise supreme Athena argent-limbed, and, if my lips be musicless, inspire at least my life. Was not thy glory hymned by one who gave to thee his sword and lyre like Aeschylus at well-fought Marathon, and died to show that Milton's England still could bear a son? And yet I cannot tread the portico and live without desire, fear and pain, or nurture that wise calm which long ago the grave Athenian master taught to men, self-poised, self-centered, and self-comforted, to watch the world's vain fantasies go by with unbowed head. Alas! That serene brow, those eloquent lips, those eyes that mirrored all eternity, rest in their own Colonos. An eclipse hath come on wisdom, and Mnemosyne is childless. In the night which she had made for lofty secure flight Athena's owl itself hath strayed. Nor much with science do I care to climb, although by strange and subtle witchery she drew the moon from heaven. The muse Time unrolls her gorgeous colored tapestry to no less eager eyes. Often indeed in the great epic of Polymnia's scroll I love to read how Asia sent her myriad hosts to war against a little town, and panoplied in gilded mail with jeweled scimitar, white shielded, purple crested, rode the mead between the waving poplars and the sea which men call Artemisium, till he saw Thermopylae its steep ravine spanned by a narrow wall, and on the nearer side a little brood of careless lions holding festival. And stood amazed at such hardihood, and pitched his tent upon the reedy shore, and stayed 2 days to wonder, and then crept at midnight o'er some unfrequented height, and coming down the autumn forests treacherously slew what Sparta held most dear and was the crown of far Eurotas, and passed on, nor knew how God had staked an evil net for him in the small bay at Salamis. And yet, the page grows dim, its cadenced Greek delights me not, I feel with such a goodly time too out of tune to love it much, for like the dial's wheel that from its blinded darkness strikes the noon yet never sees the sun, so do my eyes restlessly follow that which from my cheated vision flies. Oh, for one grand unselfish simple life to teach us what is wisdom! Speak ye hills of lone Helvellyn, for this note of strife shunned your untroubled crags and crystal rills. Where is that spirit which living blamelessly yet dared to kiss the smitten mouth of his own century? Speak ye Rydalian laurels. Where is he whose gentle head ye sheltered, that pure soul whose gracious days of uncrowned majesty through lowliest conduct touched the lofty goal where love and duty mingle? Him at least the most high laws were glad of, he had sat at wisdom's feast, but we are learning's changelings. Know by rote the clarion watchword of each Grecian school and follow none. The flawless sword which smote the pagan Hydra is an effete tool which we ourselves have blunted. What man now shall scale the august ancient heights and to old reverence bow? One such indeed I saw, but, Ishabod, gone is that last dear son of Italy, who being man died for the Sarche of God, and whose unreason bones sleep peacefully. O guard him well, my Giotto's tower, thou marble lily of the lily town. Let not the lour of the rude tempest vex his slumber, or the Arno with its tawny troubled gold o'erleap its marge. No mightier conqueror clomb the high Capitol in the days of old when Rome was indeed Rome, for liberty walked like a bride beside him, at which sight pale mystery fled shrieking to her farthest somberest cell with an old man who grabbled rusty keys, fled shuddering, for that immemorial knell with which oblivion buries dynasties swept like a wounded eagle on the blast, as to the holy heart of Rome the great triumvir passed. He knew the holiest heart and heights of Rome, he drave the base wolf from the lion's lair, and now lies dead by that empire ealdome which overtops Wilde, no hung in air by Brunellus Chi. O Melpomene, breathe through thy melancholy pipe thy sweetest threnody. Breathe through the tragic stops such melodies that joy's self may grow jealous, and the nine forget a while their discreet imperies, mourning for him who on Rome's lordliest shrine lit for men's lives the light of Marathon, and bare to sun-forgotten fields the fire of the sun. O guard him well, my Giotto's tower. Let some young Florentine each eventide bring coronals of that enchanted flower which the dim woods of Vallombrosa hide, and deck the marble tomb wherein he lies, whose soul is as some mighty orb unseen of mortal eyes, some mighty orb whose cycled wanderings, being tempest-driven to the farthest rim where chaos meets creation and the wings of the eternal chanting cherubim are pavilioned on nothing, passed away into a moonless void, and yet, though he is dust and clay, he is not dead. The immemorial fates forbid it, and the closing shears refrain. Lift up your heads, ye everlasting gates. Ye argent clarions, sound a loftier strain, for the vile thing he hated lurks within its sombre house, alone with God and memories of sin. Still what avails it that she sought her cave, that murderous mother of red harlotries? At Munich on the marble architrave the Grecian boys die smiling, but the seas which wash Aegean fret in loneliness, not mirroring their beauty. So our lives grow colorless for lack of our ideals. If one star flame torch like in the heavens, the unjust swift daylight kills it, and no trump of war can wake to passionate voice the silent dust which was Mazinae once. Rich Niobe for all her stony sorrows hath her sons, but Italy, what Easter day shall make her children rise, who were not gods yet suffered? What sure feet shall find their grave clothes folded? What clear eyes shall see them bodily? Oh, it were meet to roll the stone from off the sepulchre and kiss the bleeding roses of their wounds, in love of her, our Italy. Our mother visible. Most blessed among nations and most sad, for whose dear Sarke the young Calabrian fell that day at Aspromont, and was glad that in an age when God was bought and sold one man could die for liberty. But we, burnt out and cold, see honor smitten on the cheek, and gyves bind the sweet feet of mercy. Poverty creeps through our sunless lanes and with sharp knives cuts the warm throats of children stealthily, and no word said. Oh, we are wretched men unworthy of our great inheritance. Where is the pen of austere Milton? Where the mighty sword which slew its master righteously? The years have lost their ancient leader, and no word breaks from the voiceless tripod on our ears, while as a ruined mother in some spasm bears a base child and loathes it, so our best enthusiasm genders unlawful children, anarchy freedom's own Judas, the vile prodigal license who steals the gold of liberty and yet has nothing, ignorance the real one fratricide since Cain, envy the asp that stings itself to anguish, avarice whose palsied grasp is in its extent stiffened, moneyed greed for whose dull appetite men waste away amid the whir of wheels, and are the seed of things which slay their sower. These each day sees rife in England, and the gentle feet of beauty tread no more the stones of each unlovely street. What even Cromwell spared is desecrated by weed and worm, left to the stormy play of wind and beating snow, or renovated by more destructful hands. time's worst decay will wreathe its ruins with some loveliness, but these new vandals can but make a rain-proof barrenness. Where is that art which bade the angels sing through Lincoln's lofty choir, till the air seems from such marble harmonies to ring with sweeter song than common lips can dare to draw from actual reed? Ah! Where is now the cunning hand which made the flowering hawthorn branches bow for Southwell's arch, and carved the house of one who loved the lilies of the field with all our dearest English flowers? The same sun rises for us, the seasons natural weave the same tapestry of green and grey, the unchanged hills are with us, but that spirit hath passed away. And yet perchance it may be better so, for tyranny is an incestuous queen, murder her brother is her bedfellow, and the plague chambers with her, in obscene and bloody paths her treacherous feet are set. Better the empty desert and a soul inviolate. For gentle brotherhood, the harmony of living in the healthful air, the swift clean beauty of strong limbs when men are free and women chaste, these are the things which lift our souls up more than even Agnello's gaunt blinded Sibyl poring o'er the scroll of human woes, or Titian's little maiden on the stair white as her own sweet lily and as tall, or Mona Lisa smiling through her hair. Ah! Somehow life is bigger after all than any painted angel, could we see the God that is within us. The old Greek serenity which curbs the passion of that level line of marble youths, who with untroubled eyes and chastened limbs ride round Athena's shrine and mirror her divine economies, and balanced symmetry of what in man would else wage ceaseless warfare, this at least within the span between our mother's kisses and the grave might so inform our lives, that we could win such mighty empires that from her cave temptation would grow hoarse, and pallid sin would walk ashamed of his adulteries, and passion creep from out the house of lust with startled eyes. To make the body and the spirit one with all right things, till no thing live in vain from morn to noon, but in sweet unison with every pulse of flesh and throb of brain the soul in flawless essence high enthroned, against all outer vain attack invincibly bastioned, mark with serene impartiality the strife of things, and yet be comforted, knowing that by the chain causality all separate existences are wed into one supreme whole, whose utterance is joy, or holier praise. Ah! Surely this were governance of life in most august omnipresence, through which the rational intellect would find in passion its expression, and mere sense, ignoble else, lend fire to the mind, and being joined with it in harmony more mystical than that which binds the stars planetary, strike from their several tones one octave chord whose cadence being measureless would fly through all the circling spheres, then to its Lord return refreshed with its new empery and more exultant power. This, indeed, could we but reach it, were to find the last, the perfect creed. Ah! It was easy when the world was young to keep one's life free and inviolate. From our sad lips another song is wrung, by our own hands our heads are desecrate, wanderers in drear exile, and dispossessed of what should be our own, we can but feed on wild unrest. Somehow the grace, the bloom of things has flown, and of all men we are most wretched who must live each other's lives and not our own for very pity's sake, and then undo all that we lived for. It was otherwise when soul and body seemed to blend in mystic symphonies. But we have left those gentle haunts to pass with weary feet to the new Calvary, where we behold, as one who in a glass sees his own face, self-slain humanity, and in the dumb reproach of that sad gaze learn what an awful phantom the red hand of man can raise. O smitten mouth! O forehead crowned with thorn! O chalice of all common miseries! Thou for our sakes that loved thee not hast borne an agony of endless centuries, and we were vain and ignorant nor knew that when we stabbed thy heart it was our own real hearts we slew. Being ourselves the sowers and the seeds, the night that covers and the lights that fade, the spear that pierces and the side that bleeds, the lips betraying and the life betrayed, the deepeth calm, the mooneth rest, but we lords of the natural world are yet our own dread enemy. Is this the end of all that primal force which, in its changes being still the same, from eyeless chaos cleft its upward course, through ravenous seas and whirling rocks and flame, till the suns met in heaven and began their cycles, and the morning stars sang, and the Word was man? Nay, nay, we are but crucified, and though the bloody sweat falls from our brows like rain loosen the nails, we shall come down I know, stanch the red wounds, we shall be whole again, no need have we of hyssop-laden rod, that which is purely human, that is godlike, that is God. Louis Napoleon Eagle of Austerlitz. Where were thy wings when far away upon a barbarous strand, in fight unequal, by an obscure hand, fell the last scion of thy brood of kings? Poor boy! Thou shalt not flaunt thy cloak of red, or ride in state through Paris in the van of thy returning legions, but instead thy mother France, free and republican, shall on thy dead and crownless forehead place the better laurels of a soldier's crown, that not dishonored should thy soul go down to tell the mighty sire of thy race that France hath kissed the mouth of liberty, and found it sweeter than his honeyed bees, and that the giant wave democracy breaks on the shores where kings lay couched at ease. Endymion, for music, the apple trees are hung with gold, and birds are loud in Arcady, the sheep lie bleating in the fold, the wild goat runs across the wold, but yesterday his love he told, I know he will come back to me. O rising moon! O Lady Moon! Be you my lover's sentinel, you cannot choose but know him well, for he is shod with purple shoon, you cannot choose but know my love, for he a shepherd's crook doth bear, and he is soft as any dove, and brown and curly is his hair. The turtle now has ceased to call upon her crimson-footed groom, the grey wolf prowls about the stall, the lily's singing seneschal sleeps in the lilybell, and all the violet hills are lost in gloom. O risen moon! O holy moon! Stand on the top of Hellas, and if my own true love you see, ah! If you see the purple shoon, the hazel crook, the lad's brown hair, the goat skin wrapped about his arm, tell him that I am waiting where the rushlight glimmers in the farm. The falling dew is cold and chill, and no bird sings in Arcady, the little fawns have left the hill, even the tired daffodil has closed its gilded doors, and still my lover comes not back to me. False moon! False moon! O waning moon! Where is my own true lover gone, where are the lips vermilion, the shepherd's crook, the purple shoon? Why spread that silver pavilion, why wear that veil of drifting mist? Ah! Thou'st young Endymion, thou'st the lips that should be kissed. Le Jardin, the lily's withered chalice falls around its rod of dusty gold, and from the beech trees on the wold the last wood pigeon coos and calls. The gaudy leonine sunflower hangs black and barren on its stalk, and down the windy garden walk the dead leaves scatter, hour by hour. Pale privet petals white as milk are blown into a snowy mass. The roses lie upon the grass like little shreds of crimson silk. Lamer, a white mist drifts across the shrouds. A wild moon in this wintry sky gleams like an angry lion's eye out of a mane of tawny clouds. The muffled steersman at the wheel is but a shadow in the gloom, and in the throbbing engine room leap the long rods of polished steel. The shattered storm has left its trace upon this huge and heaving dome, for the thin threads of yellow foam float on the waves like ravelled lace. Le Panneau, under the rose tree's dancing shade there stands a little ivory girl, pulling the leaves of pink and pearl with pale green nails of polished jade. The red leaves fall upon the mould. The white leaves flutter, one by one, down to a blue bowl where the sun, like a great dragon, writhes in gold. The white leaves float upon the air, the red leaves flutter idly down, some fall upon her yellow gown, and some upon her raven hair. She takes an amber lute and sings, and as she sings a silver crane begins his scarlet neck to strain, and flap his burnished metal wings. She takes a lute of amber bright, and from the thicket where he lies her lover, with his almond eyes, watches her movements in delight. And now she gives a cry of fear, and tiny tears begin to start. A thorn has wounded with its dart the pink-veined seashell of her ear. And now she laughs a merry note. There has fallen a petal of the rose just where the yellow satin shows the blue-veined flower of her throat. With pale green nails of polished jade, pulling the leaves of pink and pearl, there stands a little ivory girl under the rose tree's dancing shade. Les Ballons, against these turbid turquoise skies the light and luminous balloons dip and drift like satin moons, drift like silken butterflies, reel with every windy gust, rise and reel like dancing girls, float like strange transparent pearls, fall and float like silver dust. Now to the low leaves they cling, each with coy fantastic pose, each a petal of a rose straining at a gossamer string. Then to the tall trees they climb, like thin globes of amethyst, wandering opals keeping tryst with the rubies of the lime. Canzone, I have no store of griffin-guarded gold, now, as before, bare is the shepherd's fold. Rubies nor pearls have I to gem thy throat, yet woodland girls have loved the shepherd's note. Then pluck a reed and bid me sing to thee, for I would feed thine ears with melody, who art more fair than fairest fleur-de-lis, more sweet and rare than sweetest ambergris. What dost thou fear? Young Hyacinth is slain, Pan is not here, and will not come again. No horned fawn treads down the yellow leas, no god at dawn steals through the olive trees. Hylas is dead, nor will he e'er divine those little red rose-petalled lips of thine. On the high hill no ivory dryads play, silver and still sinks the sad autumn day. Le Jardin des Tuileries, this winter air is keen and cold this winter sun, but round my chair the children run like little things of dancing gold. Sometimes about the painted kiosk the mimic soldiers strut and stride, sometimes the blue-eyed brigands hide in the bleak tangles of the bosque. And sometimes, while the old nurse cons her book, they steal across the square, and launch their paper navies where huge Triton writhes in greenish bronze. And now in mimic flight they flee, and now they rush, a boisterous band, and, tiny hand on tiny hand, climb up the black and leafless tree. Ah! Cruel tree! If I were you, and children climbed me, for their sake though it be winter I would break into spring blossoms white and blue. Pan double villanelle goat-foot god of Arcady. This modern world is grey and old, and what remains to us of thee? No more the shepherd lads in glee throw apples at thy wattled fold, O goat-foot god of Arcady. Nor through the laurels can one see thy soft brown limbs, thy beard of gold, and what remains to us of thee. And dull and dead our Thames would be, for here the winds are chill and cold, O goat-lute god of Arcady. Then keep the tomb of Hellas, thine olive woods, thy vine-clad wold, and what remains to us of thee? Though many an unsung elegy sleeps in the reeds our rivers hold, O goat-foot god of Arcady. Ah, what remains to us of thee? Leave the hills of Arcady, thy satyrs and their wanton play, this modern world doth need of thee. No nymph or faun indeed have we, for faun and nymph are old and grey. Ah, leave the hills of Arcady. This is the land where liberty lit grave-browed Milton on his way, this modern world doth need of thee. A land of ancient chivalry where gentle Sydney saw the day. Ah, leave the hills of Arcady. This fierce sea lion of the sea, this England lacks some stronger lay, this modern world doth need of thee. Then blow some trumpet loud and free, and give thine oaten pipe away. Ah, leave the hills of Arcady. This modern world doth need of thee. In the forest out of the midwoods twilight into the meadows dawn, ivory-limbed and brown-eyed, flashes my faun. He skips through the copses singing, and his shadow dances along, and I know not which I should follow, shadow or song. O hunter, snare me his shadow. O nightingale, catch me his strain. Else moonstruck with music and madness I track him in vain. Symphony in yellow, an omnibus across the bridge crawls like a yellow butterfly, and, here and there, a passer-by shows like a little restless midge. Big barges full of yellow hay are moored against the shadowy wharf, and, like a yellow silken scarf, the thick fog hangs along the quay. The yellow leaves begin to fade and flutter from the temple elms, and at my feet the pale green Thames lies like a rod of rippled jade. Sonnets Hellas. To drift with every passion till my soul is a stringed lute on which winds can play, is it for this that I have given away mine ancient wisdom and austere control? Methinks my life is a twice-written scroll scrawled over on some boyish holiday with idle songs for pipe and violet, which do but mar the secret of the whole. Surely there was a time I might have trod the sunlit heights, and from life's dissonance struck one clear chord to reach the ears of God. Is that time dead? Lo! With a little rod I did but touch the honey of romance, and must I lose a soul's inheritance? To Milton, Milton. I think thy spirit hath passed away from these white cliffs and high embattled towers. This gorgeous fire-coloured world of ours seems fallen into ashes dull and grey, and the age changed unto a mimic play wherein we waste our else too crowded hours. For all our pomp and pageantry and powers we are but fit to delve the common clay, seeing this little isle on which we stand, this England, this sea lion of the sea, by ignorant demagogues is held in fee, who love her not, dear God. Is this the land which bare a triple empire in her hand when Cromwell spake the word democracy? On the massacre of the Christians in Bulgaria, Christ, dost thou live indeed? Or are thy bones still straitened in their rock-hewn sepulchre? And was thy rising only dreamed by her whose love of thee for all her sin atones? For here the air is horrid with men's groans, the priests who call upon thy name are slain. Dost thou not hear the bitter wail of pain from those whose children lie upon the stones? Come down, O Son of God. Incestuous gloom curtains the land, and through the starless night over thy cross a crescent moon I see. If thou in very truth didst burst the tomb, come down, O Son of Man, and show thy might lest Mahomet be crowned instead of thee. Holy Week at Genoa I wandered through Scolietto's far retreat, the oranges on each o'erhanging spray burned as bright lamps of gold to shame the day. Some startled bird with fluttering wings and fleet made snow of all the blossoms. At my feet like silver moons the pale narcissi lay, and the curved waves that streaked the great green bay laughed I the sun, and life seemed very sweet. Outside the young boy priest passed singing clear, Jesus the Son of Mary has been slain, O come and fill his sepulchre with flowers. Ah, God! Ah, God! Those dear Hellenic hours had drowned all memory of thy bitter pain, the cross, the crown, the soldiers and the spear. Urbs Sacra Eterna Rome. What a scroll of history thine has been! In the first days thy sword republican ruled the whole world for many an age's span, then of the peoples wert thou royal queen, till in thy streets the bearded Goth was seen, and now upon thy walls the breezes fan. Ah, city crowned by God, discrowned by man. The hated flag of red and white and green. When was thy glory? When in search for power thine eagles flew to greet the double sun, and the wild nations shuddered at thy rod. Nay, but thy glory tarried for this hour, when pilgrims kneel before the Holy One, the prisoned shepherd of the Church of God. Monte Mario e Tenebri, come down, O Christ, and help me. Reach thy hand, for I am drowning in a stormier sea than Simon on thy lake of Galilee. The wine of life is spilt upon the sand. My heart is as some famine-murdered land whence all good things have perished utterly, and well I know my soul in hell must lie if I this night before God's throne should stand. He sleeps perchance, or rideth to the chase, like Baal, when his prophets howled that name from morn to noon on Carmel's smitten height. Nay, peace, I shall behold, before the night, the feet of brass, the robe more white than flame, the wounded hands, the weary human face. At Verona how steep the stairs within kings' houses are for exile-wearied feet as mine to tread, and oh how salt and bitter is the bread which falls from this hound's table. Better far that I had died in the red ways of war, or that the gate of Florence bear my head, than to live thus, by all things comrade which seek the essence of my soul to mar. Curse God and die, what better hope than this? He hath forgotten thee in all the bliss of his gold city, and eternal day, nay peace. Behind my prison's blinded bars I do possess what none can take away, my love and all the glory of the stars. On the sale by auction of Keats' love letters, these are the letters which Endymion wrote to one he loved in secret, and apart. And now the brawlers of the auction mart bargain and bid for each poor blotted note, for each separate pulse of passion quote the merchant's price. I think they love not art who break the crystal of a poet's heart, that small and sickly eyes may glare and gloat. Is it not said that many years ago, in a far eastern town, some soldiers ran with torches through the midnight, and began to wrangle for mean armament, and to throw dice for the garments of a wretched man, not knowing the god's wonder, or his woe? The new remorse, the sin was mine, I did not understand. So now is music prisoned in her cave, save where some ebbing desultory wave frets with its restless whirls this meagre strand. And in the withered hollow of this land hath summer dug herself so deep a grave, that hardly can the leaden willow crave one silver blossom from keen winter's hand. But who is this who cometh by the shore? Nay, love, look up and wonder. Who is this who cometh in dyed garments from the south? It is thy new-found Lord, and he shall kiss the yet unravished roses of thy mouth, and I shall weep and worship, as before. End of the Project Gutenberg ebook Charmides, and other poems. Updated editions will replace the previous one, the old editions will be renamed. Creating the works from print editions not protected by U.S. copyright law means that no one owns a United States copyright in these works, so the Foundation, and you, can copy and distribute it in the United States without permission and without paying copyright royalties. Special rules, set forth in the general terms of use part of this license, apply to copying and distributing Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol concept and trademark. Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark, and may not be used if you charge for an ebook, except by following the terms of the trademark license, including paying royalties for use of the Project Gutenberg trademark. If you do not charge anything for copies of this ebook, complying with the trademark license is very easy. You may use this ebook for nearly any purpose, such as creation of derivative works, reports, performances and research. Project Gutenberg ebooks may be modified and printed and given away. You may do practically anything in the United States with ebooks not protected by U.S. copyright law. Redistribution is subject to the trademark license, especially commercial redistribution. Start. Full license. The full Project Gutenberg license. Please read this before you distribute or use this work to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol mission of promoting the free distribution of electronic works. By using or distributing this work, or any other work associated in any way with the phrase Project Gutenberg, you agree to comply with all the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license available with this file or online at www.gutenberg.org/license. Section 1. General Terms of Use and Redistributing Project Gutenberg Trademark Symbol Electronic Works 1.0. By reading or using any part of this Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work, you indicate that you have read, understand, agree to and accept all the terms of this license and intellectual property, trademark/copyright, agreement. If you do not agree to abide by all the terms of this agreement, you must cease using and return or destroy all copies of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works in your possession. If you paid a fee for obtaining a copy of or access to a Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work and you do not agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement, you may obtain a refund from the person or entity to whom you paid the fee as set forth in paragraph 1.e.8. 1.b Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark. It may only be used on or associated in any way with an electronic work by people who agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement. There are a few things that you can do with most Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works even without complying with the full terms of this agreement. See paragraph 1.c below. There are a lot of things you can do with Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works if you follow the terms of this agreement and help preserve free future access to Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works. See paragraph 1.e below. 1.c. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the Foundation or PGLAF, owns a compilation copyright in the collection of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works. Nearly all the individual works in the collection are in the public domain in the United States. If an individual work is unprotected by copyright law in the United States and you are located in the United States, we do not claim a right to prevent you from copying, distributing, performing, displaying or creating derivative works based on the work as long as all references to Project Gutenberg are removed. Of course, we hope that you will support the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol mission of promoting free access to electronic works by freely sharing Project Gutenberg trademark symbol works in compliance with the terms of this agreement for keeping the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol name associated with the work. You can easily comply with the terms of this agreement by keeping this work in the same format with its attached full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license when you share it without charge with others. 1.d. The copyright laws of the place where you are located also govern what you can do with this work. Copyright laws in most countries are in a constant state of change. If you are outside the United States, check the laws of your country in addition to the terms of this agreement before downloading, copying, displaying, performing, distributing or creating derivative works based on this work or any other Project Gutenberg trademark symbol work. The Foundation makes no representations concerning the copyright status of any work in any country other than the United States. 1.e unless you have removed all references to Project Gutenberg. 1.e.1. The following sentence, with active links to, or other immediate access to, the full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license must appear prominently whenever any copy of a Project Gutenberg trademark symbol work, any work on which the phrase Project Gutenberg appears, or with which the phrase Project Gutenberg is associated, is accessed, displayed, performed, viewed, copied or distributed. This ebook is for the use of anyone anywhere in the United States and most other parts of the world at no cost and with almost no restrictions whatsoever. You may copy it, give it away or reuse it under the terms of the Project Gutenberg license included with this ebook or online at www.gutenberg.org. If you are not located in the United States, you will have to check the laws of the country where you are located before using this ebook. 1.e.2. If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work is derived from texts not protected by U.S. copyright law, does not contain a notice indicating that it is posted with permission of the copyright holder, the work can be copied and distributed to anyone in the United States without paying any fees or charges. If you are redistributing or providing access to a work with the phrase Project Gutenberg associated with or appearing on the work, you must comply either with the requirements of paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 or obtain permission for the use of the work and the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol trademark as set forth in paragraphs 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.3. If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work is posted with the permission of the copyright holder, your use and distribution must comply with both paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 and any additional terms imposed by the copyright holder. Additional terms will be linked to the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license for all works posted with the permission of the copyright holder found at the beginning of this work. 1.e.4. Do not unlink or detach or remove the full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license terms from this work, or any files containing a part of this work or any other work associated with Project Gutenberg trademark symbol. 1.e.5. Do not copy, display, perform, distribute or redistribute this electronic work, or any part of this electronic work, without prominently displaying the sentence set forth in paragraph 1.e.1 with active links or immediate access to the full terms of the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license. 1.e.6. You may convert to and distribute this work in any binary, compressed, marked up, non-proprietary or proprietary form, including any word processing or hypertext form. However, if you provide access to or distribute copies of a Project Gutenberg trademark symbol work in a format other than plain vanilla ASCII or other format used in the official version posted on the official Project Gutenberg trademark symbol website, www.gutenberg.org, you must, at no additional cost, fee or expense to the user, provide a copy, a means of exporting a copy, or a means of obtaining a copy upon request, of the work in its original plain vanilla ASCII or other form. Any alternate format must include the full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license as specified in paragraph 1.e.1. 1.e.7. Do not charge a fee for access to, viewing, displaying, performing, copying or distributing any Project Gutenberg trademark symbol works unless you comply with paragraph 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.8. You may charge a reasonable fee for copies of or providing access to or distributing Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works provided that you pay a royalty fee of 20% of the gross profits you derive from the use of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol works calculated using the method you already use to calculate your applicable taxes. The fee is owed to the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol trademark, but he has agreed to donate royalties under this paragraph to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Royalty payments must be paid within 60 days following each date on which you prepare, or are legally required to prepare, your periodic tax returns. Royalty payments should be clearly marked as such and sent to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation at the address specified in Section 4. Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. You provide a full refund of any money paid by a user who notifies you in writing, or by email, within 30 days of receipt that he does not agree to the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license. You must require such a user to return or destroy all copies of the works possessed in a physical medium and discontinue all use of and all access to other copies of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol works. You provide, in accordance with paragraph 1.f.3, a full refund of any money paid for a work or a replacement copy, if a defect in the electronic work is discovered and reported to you within 90 days of receipt of the work. You comply with all other terms of this agreement for free distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol works. 1.e.9. If you wish to charge a fee or distribute a Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work or group of works on different terms than are set forth in this agreement, you must obtain permission in writing from the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the manager of the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol trademark. Contact the Foundation as set forth in Section 3 below. 1.f1.f.1. Project Gutenberg volunteers and employees expend considerable effort to identify, do copyright research on, transcribe and proofread works not protected by U.S. copyright law in creating the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol collection. Despite these efforts, Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works, and the medium on which they may be stored, may contain defects such as, but not limited to, incomplete, inaccurate or corrupt data, transcription errors, a copyright or other intellectual property infringement, a defective or damaged disk or other medium, a computer virus, or computer codes that damage or cannot be read by your equipment. 1.f.2 Limited warranty. Disclaimer of damages, except for the right of replacement or refund described in paragraph 1.f.3. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol trademark, and any other party distributing a Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work under this agreement, disclaim all liability to you for damages, costs and expenses, including legal fees. You agree that you have no remedies for negligence, strict liability, breach of warranty or breach of contract except those provided in paragraph 1.f.3. You agree that the Foundation, the trademark owner, and any distributor under this agreement will not be liable to you for actual, direct, indirect, consequential, punitive or incidental damages even if you give notice of the possibility of such damage. 1.f.3. Limited right of replacement or refund. If you discover a defect in this electronic work within 90 days of receiving it, you can receive a refund of the money, if any, you paid for it by sending a written explanation to the person you received the work from. If you received the work on a physical medium, you must return the medium with your written explanation. The person or entity that provided you with the defective work may elect to provide a replacement copy in lieu of a refund. If you received the work electronically, the person or entity providing it to you may choose to give you a second opportunity to receive the work electronically in lieu of a refund. If the second copy is also defective, you may demand a refund in writing without further opportunities to fix the problem. 1.f.4. Except for the limited right of replacement or refund set forth in paragraph 1.f.3, this work is provided to you as is, with no other warranties of any kind, express or implied, including but not limited to warranties of merchantability or fitness for any purpose. 1.f.5. Some states do not allow disclaimers of certain implied warranties or the exclusion or limitation of certain types of damages. If any disclaimer or limitation set forth in this agreement violates the law of the state applicable to this agreement, the agreement shall be interpreted to make the maximum disclaimer or limitation permitted by the applicable state law. The invalidity or unenforceability of any provision of this agreement shall not void the remaining provisions. 1.f.6. Indemnity. You agree to indemnify and hold the Foundation, the trademark owner, any agent or employee of the Foundation, anyone providing copies of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works in accordance with this agreement, and any volunteers associated with the production, promotion and distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works, harmless from all liability, costs and expenses, including legal fees, that arise directly or indirectly from any of the following which you do or cause to occur. A. Distribution of this or any Project Gutenberg trademark symbol work. B. Alteration, modification, or additions or deletions to any Project Gutenberg trademark symbol work, and C. Any defect you cause. Section 2. Information about the mission of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol. Project Gutenberg trademark symbol is synonymous with the free distribution of electronic works in formats readable by the widest variety of computers, including obsolete, old, middle-aged and new computers. It exists because of the efforts of hundreds of volunteers and donations from people in all walks of life. Volunteers and financial support to provide volunteers with the assistance they need are critical to reaching Project Gutenberg trademark symbol's goals and ensuring that the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol collection will remain freely available for generations to come. In 2001, the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation was created to provide a secure and permanent future for Project Gutenberg trademark symbol and future generations. To learn more about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation and how your efforts and donations can help, see sections 3 and 4 and the Foundation information page at www.gutenberg.org. Section 3. Information about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation is a non-profit 501(c)(3) educational corporation organized under the laws of the state of Mississippi and granted tax-exempt status by the Internal Revenue Service. The Foundation's IN or Federal Tax Identification Number is 64-6221541. Contributions to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation are tax-deductible to the full extent permitted by U.S. federal laws and your state's laws. The Foundation's business office is located at 809 North 1500 West, Salt Lake City, UT 84116. 801-596-1887. Email contact links and up-to-date contact information can be found at the Foundation's website and official page at www.gutenberg.org/contact section 4. Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Project Gutenberg trademark symbol depends upon and cannot survive without widespread public support and donations to carry out its mission of increasing the number of public domain and licensed works that can be freely distributed in machine-readable form accessible by the widest array of equipment, including outdated equipment. Many small donations, $1 to $5,000, are particularly important to maintaining tax-exempt status with the IRS. The Foundation is committed to complying with the laws regulating charities and charitable donations in all 50 states of the United States. Compliance requirements are not uniform and it takes a considerable effort, much paperwork and many fees to meet and keep up with these requirements. We do not solicit donations in locations where we have not received written confirmation of compliance. To send donations or determine the status of compliance for any particular state, visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. While we cannot and do not solicit contributions from states where we have not met the solicitation requirements, We know of no prohibition against accepting unsolicited donations from donors in such states who approach us with offers to donate. International donations are gratefully accepted, but we cannot make any statements concerning tax treatment of donations received from outside the United States. U.S. laws alone swamp our small staff. Please check the Project Gutenberg web pages for current donation methods and addresses. Donations are accepted in a number of other ways, including checks, online payments and credit card donations. To donate, please visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. Section 5. General information about Project Gutenberg trademark symbol Electronic Works. Professor Michael S. Hart was the originator of the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol concept of a library of electronic works that could be freely shared with anyone. For 40 years, he produced and distributed Project Gutenberg trademark symbol ebooks with only a loose network of volunteer support. Project Gutenberg trademark symbol ebooks are often created from several printed editions, all of which are confirmed as not protected by copyright in the US unless a copyright notice is included. Thus, we do not necessarily keep ebooks in compliance with any particular paper edition. Most people start at our website, which has the main PG search facility, www.gutenberg.org. This website includes information about Project Gutenberg trademark symbol, including how to make donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, how to help produce our new ebooks, and how to subscribe to our email newsletter to hear about new ebooks. Charmides and other poems. Contents. Charmides poems requiescat san minuto Roman visited humanitad Louis Napoleon Endymion. For music, Le Jardin Lamer Le Panio Les Ballons Canzone Le Jardin des Tuileries Pan Double Villanelle in the Forest Symphony in Yellow Sonnets Hellas. To Milton on the massacre of the Christians in Bulgaria. Holy Week at Genoa. Urbs Sacra Eterna e Tenebri at Verona. On the sale by auction of Keats' love letters. The New Remorse. The full Project Gutenberg license. PV 967 69 71 77 114 116 119 120 121 124 126 129 131 135 136 P6 139 140 141 142 143 144 145 146 147 P9 p.m. 10 p.m. 11 p.m. 12 p.m. 13 p14 p15 p16 p17 p18 p19 p20 p21 p22 p23 p24 p25 p26 p27 P28 P29 P30 P31 P32 P33 P34 P35 P36 P37 P38 P 39 P40 P41 P42 P43 P44 P45 P46 P47 P48 P49 P50 P51 P52 P53 P54 P55 P56 P57 P58 P59 P60 P61 P62 P63 P64 P65 P67 P68 P69 P70 P71 P72 P73 P74 P75 P76 P77 P78 P79 P80 P81 P82 P83 P84 P85 P86 P87 P88 P89 P90 P91 P92 P93 P94 P95 P96 P97 P98 P99 P100 P101 P102 P103 P104 P105 P106 P107 P108 P109 P110 P111 P112 P113 P114 P115 P116 P117 P118 P119 P 120 P121 P122 P123 P124 P125 P126 P127 P128 P129 P130 P131 P132 P133 P134 P135 P136 P137 P139 P140 P141 P142 P143 P144 P145 P146 P147